Hey, and welcome back to the Educated Sanctuary, where we have the big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and all the things that help us live, move, and breathe more intentionally. Whether you are a mom, a teacher, community leader, or just a woman holding space for others, this show is definitely for you. So last week we had our first ever guest, and I was so excited about that. If you have not listened to the episode, please do. We talked about calm in the chaos, and you absolutely have to go and catch up on that. This week I am flying solo, but not to worry. We have other amazing guests that are coming up in the weeks to come. This week, just this past week, for instance, it was just a lot of things that I just did not expect, including me being under the weather for a couple days. Like, I literally felt like I could not do anything. But I have come to terms that when times like that happens, it probably means that I should have been resting, and I would not have had that not happened. So I just took care of my body and did what I needed to do so that I could get back to 100%. But no matter what, it doesn't matter what I feel like, I enjoy doing this podcast. So I was like, I have to do the podcast. It doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't matter. So wasn't going to skip out on this recording. Also wasn't going to skip out on this conversation, because anytime I do a podcast episode, I always feel like someone needs this, but I really feel like someone needs this. And right now, and maybe that someone is you. So I'm also just going to preface this particular episode with, this was not the one that I actually had planned. It was added in because I literally just had something happen last week, on top of also it being the week that kids were coming out of finals and stressed out about that. People were stressing about grades and graduation and if they were going to pass. There were parents stressing out about how they're going to pay for summer camps, things like that. And I too had my share in stress last week. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about this, because I feel like this is just a season that everybody's going through where we're all like just worried about something. And some of us have our stresses relieved. People have graduated, they're relieved. People have passed, they're relieved. They passed their tests, they're relieved. So lots of relief too, but still lots of stress. And so last week I actually came home from work, and my daughter, who's here from school, she was like, Mom, I have to pay for college classes and I have to pay for them today. And I'm like, today? What's today's date? And so the thing is, I had gone to put in a check for her classes, and I was told that it was going to take about 3 to 5 days. That 3 to 5 days should have been up. And when we looked at the account, the money was just not released to us. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And so she was like, yeah, and they want the full payment. I'm like, the full payment? Like, what college is forcing people to pay the full payment? Is there not like a payment plan option? But anyway, she was saying they want the full payment. So at that moment, I actually just started to tear up, because obviously college classes are high. And I also had another obligation that I needed to take care of. And it was like, wow, if I give her this, then that other hefty obligation, I would have to kind of almost pretty much start over for. But I only had 5 days. I only had 5 days to figure out how to take care of it. And so I was just like, my goodness, this could not be the worst timing. Literally, the bank was supposed to, cash that check, and so it wouldn't have been an issue. And then I needed to take care of this obligation so that would be taken care of. But it just came down to a timing issue. I did what any good mother would do. She had to pay for her classes, or they were going to kick her out and release her classes that day. So I said, you know what? Since the classes have to be paid for today, I don't have a choice. I'm just going to have to take care of today and let tomorrow worry about itself. And so I went ahead and I gave her the card to go ahead and pay for the classes. And she was like, okay, it's done. And it was like right after she said that, I kind of just like teared up a little bit. And I was like, God, the big thing that I'm supposed to do next week, like, it has to be done. It's not an option. And so I pretty much just said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. this is absolutely not my problem, God. It is absolutely your problem. You're the one who knew that this predicament was going to happen. You're the one that knows that I have to take care of this business. And so you're the one that's going to be able to get me out of this. I'm not going to worry about it. You're going to worry about it. Because if I worry about it, like, I'm just going to lose it. And I know that you already know what to do and you have a plan. And so after that, I was pretty stressed. And I was like, you know what? We still have things to do. We got to get ready to go out of town. And so I said, I'm just going to go get a pedicure today. My feet hurt really bad. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I just need to relax. And I'm just going to let somebody else, like work on my feet. And so my daughter was like, Mom, maybe you could just, do a pedicure at home. That way you can like save money because you just paid all this money for my classes. I said, absolutely not. Because I told God that he had to take care of it. This pedicure is literally like pennies on a dollar. Like, I'm not going to even worry about this small thing when I have this big thing. So I went, I got the pedicure, and I sat there and I went to sleep. And here is where it gets good. So while I was almost pretty much done getting my pedicure, I checked my phone and I saw a payments notification. And I literally had to do a double take. Like, are you serious right now? A payment that I was not expecting. A payment that just literally left me like, and that was another moment that I wanted to cry because I was like, God, I know this was nobody but you. I know this was nobody but you because it was enough to take care of my obligation. My daughter's stuff was already done. I needed my stuff done. And it was enough to take care of my stuff and not have me going to that 11th hour of worry and stress, wondering about how I was going to get it done. Gave me what I needed with a cushion for me not to stress and not to worry. It literally was just like a huge reminder that God is always working behind the scenes, even if we can't see it. And so the thing that happened for me was not just about getting the money. It was for me more so the mindset shift, like disconnecting from the worry. I could have actually let myself spiral into fear and anxiety, thinking like, how am I going to make this work? What if this doesn't happen? But it didn't. And I didn't. I chose to focus on the fact that everything had to work out. Like, it just was not an option for it not to. Everything had to work out. And because my focus was on it working out, then it did. So more often than not, we will always say things like, oh, it's going to work out, or I'm just going to pray and God's going to work it out. But then on top of that, we try to do something that makes things happen. Guilty as charged, right? Because I always feel like, well, God needs my help. But I just saw last week where this lady was stressing out over losing a restaurant that she had on TikTok. And she said, I gave it to God, but she felt like she needed to take control. But everything she did wasn't working. And do you know why? Because I always like to feel, her and me and anybody else, is that when you're trying to help God, it's because you think that he's not moving fast enough. It's because you think that he's not doing enough, or perhaps he's not doing it in the way that you wanted him to do it. And so you're working from a place of desperation to make things happen. And when energy comes from that place, the place of desperation, it's the same as the faith of, I don't have it, or I'm not going to have it, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to have it. All of these stem to just lack, not a mindset of abundance at all, but a mindset of lack based around fear. And so when your energy aligns with lack, then that is absolutely what you end up getting. And then you're disappointed, like, man, I had all this faith, but you really didn't have faith. You really didn't have faith, because if you did, you wouldn't not have been trying to work your own problem out. And so while it's easier said than done, you absolutely have to focus on the win, and not the WHEN, but the WIN, because when we focus on the fact that we're actually being taken care of, that's when the breakthrough actually happens. But so much more often, we actually let our worries take the wheel. Then we get in and we try to take control, and then that steers us away from the actual truth, which is that the God of the universe is always making things happen, and he doesn't need our help. He just needs our faith. The thing is that we never need to know how the things will work out. We just need to know that they will. And when I tell you that I was not expecting that payment that I got, like it wasn't on my bingo card at all. It was not even on my list of possible outcomes. So when we talk about trying to take care of things ourselves, the things that I had in the works didn't even work out. But the one thing that I did not expect, that is the one thing that God actually used to move my entire situation. So if you are new here, I always give out homework every single week. If you are not new, then you better have your notebooks and your pens out, because you already know that homework was going to take place. And so I want you to think about that area of your life where you might be stressing. Is it your kids? Is it a job situation? Is it financial? Is it a court case that you have coming up? Really, what is that situation that you're stressing about? Is it your school, your classes? You're worried about graduating, things like that. And then where you have been trying to take control to make it happen on your own. And when I say take control, I'm not talking about doing the things that you absolutely need to do, because faith without works is dead. We have to do something. But a lot of times we try to do more than our fair share because we're trying to make something happen. We're trying to force it to happen within our timeline. I mean, are you trying to make something happen? Ask yourself, like, where have I been coming from a place of desperation and worry? And how can I shift my mind to the fact that it will work out? One thing that I have been asking for on a daily basis in my devotion is, how can I be inspired to do the work that I need to do? Not force things to happen, but what is the inspirational work that I need to do to allow things to be able to happen for me? And so this week, I want to be able to challenge you to disconnect from the worry and focus on the win, not the WHEN, but the WIN. Instead of obsessing over the how, I want you to choose faith. Choose belief that the God of the universe is already making a way for you, even if you can't see it yet. Just like I got that unexpected payment, you have a win waiting for you too. And when those moments of doubt creep in, and trust me, they absolutely will, I want you to stop and breathe and repeat, it is working out. I do not need to know how, but I know that it is. It is working out. I do not need to know how, but I know that it is. And guess what? By the end of this week, you absolutely might be surprised at what God starts to unfold for you, because mine unfolded in like hours, not even days. I hope that something there hit home for you. Maybe you needed that reminder that you do not have to do it alone. And when you let go and let God handle the how, the results can be bigger than you've absolutely imagined. Remember to disconnect from the worry, focus on the win, and trust that God has already worked it out on your behalf. If you don't remember anything I said, remember that. And always, I love to hear your thoughts on the episode. So please make sure to connect with me on social media or drop a comment wherever you're listening. Guys, reviews are very, very important. I do have 6 reviews, but I would love more. So if you are watching and listening and this episode really has done something to you or for you, as well as any of the other episodes, please do leave a review. It really helps me be able to produce more valuable content for you. And if you also found value in today's conversation, please do not forget to hit that follow button. So follow the podcast. If you're listening to us on YouTube, because we're also on video now, please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. We also have, or I also have, because it's just me, affirmations that will absolutely help you shift your mindset and create your best life now. And then, of course, in the show notes, you're going to find resources like journals, devotionals, and all the things that will help you create your best life now. So until next time, I am sending you love, peace, and courage to walk by faith and not by sight. And thanks for being here. I'll see you next week on the Educators Sanctuary. Bye. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you've loved what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.